everyone. Welcome to our Heavenly Parents Holy Community Oceania Morning Hondoke. So today we have Reverend Takaaki representing on this Thursday, 27th of August 2026, or the 15th of July, 14 years of Shoninguk. So thank you all for coming. Now let us begin by offering bow to our Heavenly Parent and two parents of heaven, earth, and all humankind. 하늘 부모님과 천지인 참 부모님께 경배. 바로 Now let's recite our family pledge together. 가정 맹세 3. 선인국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과 황저권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 3. Our family, the honor of Shoninguk, pledged to perfect the 4 great realms of heart, the 3 great kingships, the realm of the loyal family, by centering on true love. Now I would like to offering an opening prayer with this prayer title of Shani Sanctum's Entrance Proclamation Prayer from 13 April 2025. Heavenly Parent, the Creator and Master of the universe, today we have finally reached this unique day. After you patiently endured and wait for 6,000 years due to the fall. Heavenly Parent, we thank you. We offer our profound gratitude and our humble apologies. Now you are truly the rightful master of this earth. Our second, third, and fourth generation, and the pure water born of many blessed family who exist because our true parents are going out to the world to impart the visions of your earthly kingdoms across the land. From this day forward, Heavenly Parent, please embrace and love your children with all your heart. This world will now gradually be set in order under your dominions, and a world of one family of humankind under attending the Heavenly Parent with true love will surely unfold. In the name of Holy Mother Han, I proclaim to the world that the gate of heaven and the gates of God's kingdoms of Shoninguk are now wide open. Adieu. Thank you. And yes, before we welcome up Reverend Takaaki, I would like to share a prayer song. So let's listen together.
감사합니다. 감사합니다. 차렷 경례.
Thank you. So now let's give a warm welcome to Reverend Takaaki.
Morning, everyone. Today, I'd like to share True Father's speech given on August 1st, 1996, entitled In Search of the Origin of the Universe in Washington, D.C., at the occasion of the farewell banquet of the Family Federation for World Peace. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, with the end of the Cold War, new hope for peace and justice has spread rapidly across the globe. Leaders unable or unwilling to acknowledge the new international realities are being swept away by the tidal wave of change. As we stand at the threshold of the new millennium, I believe it is time to review our traditional patterns of thinking and boldly seize these new opportunities. Thus, it is my great honor to share with you my lifelong advocacy for world peace and true family values. In this world, there are two kinds of human beings, men and women. Can they decide to exchange positions? Was your birth as male or female based upon your personal desire? Or were you born that way irrespective of your personal preference? The sex that we are given is an absolute and is not a matter of choice. We did not think it, nor did we want it, but without knowing the cause, result, or process of our birth, we were born a certain way. Thus, it is undeniable that no matter how great a person may be, he or she is not a causal being, but is a resultant being. Therefore, there must exist the first causal being. Who is that causal being? Is it male? Is it female? You can call that first causal being God or any other name, but this causal being must exist. Here today, I gathered some of the most famous people in the world. You might say, where is God? Show me, and then I will believe. But I warn you not to deny the existence of that causal being. The topic of today's speech is In Search of the Origin of the Universe. If we go deeper and deeper in our search for the origin of the universe, we arrive at God. We come to know that God possesses dual characteristics of male and female. How did the universe begin? Let's put aside our discussion of God for the moment and consider humankind. It is clear that humankind is comprised of man and woman, or subject and object. In the mineral kingdom, molecules are composed of anion and cation. Plants reproduce through stamen and pistil. Animals live as male and female, and human beings as man and woman. If we examine creation, whether the mineral kingdom, plant kingdom, or animal kingdom, we observe that plus and minus on a higher level exists and develops by absorbing plus and minus from lower level. Why does this phenomena take place? It is because the existing world is responsible to perfect human beings who are lords of all creation. In the mineral kingdom, plus and minus, that is, subject and object, unite centering on the ideal of love and thus exist. In the same way, in the plant kingdom, stamen and pistil, that is, subject and object, unite centering on love and thus also exist. Medical science today points out that even bacteria exist as plus and minus. How do subject and object, or plus and minus, unite? by kissing? Love is not a concept but a substantial reality. What is the reality upon which love can settle? President Ford, President Bush, who attended the inaugural World Convention of the Family Federation for World Peace, and all of you distinguished guests are famous, but there is something that you do not know. You do not know what makes man man and woman woman. The answer is the sexual organs. Is there anyone here who dislikes the sexual organs? If you like them, how much do you like them? Until now, you may not have thought it virtuous to value the sexual organs, but from now you must value them. What will the world be like in the future? If it is a world which values the sexual organs absolutely, will that world be good or bad? Will it prosper or perish? This is not a joke. When God was creating human beings, into which part did He invest the greatest creative effort? The eyes, the nose, the heart, the brain, all of these organs eventually die, do they not? What is the purpose of the Family Federation for World Peace? If humanity were to go beyond the traditional categories of virtue, religion, and any other human norms, but were absolutely in harmony with the sexual organs, earning the welcoming applause of God, what kind of world would it be? When we are born as a man or woman, who is the owner of our sexual organ? Actually, the owner of a husband's sexual organ is his wife, and the owner of a wife's sexual organ is her husband. We did not know that the sexual organ is owned by the opposite sex. This is a simple truth. We cannot deny this truth. Even after history progresses for thousands of years, this truth will not change. Every man thinks his sexual organ belongs to himself, and each woman thinks her sexual organ is her own. That is why the world is perishing. Everyone is mistaken concerning ownership of the sexual organs. We all think that love is absolute, eternal, and dreamlike. But when we come to clearly understand that the ownership of eternal love lies with the opposite sex, the world will not remain in its present condition. There are numerous scholars and PhDs, but none of them have thought about this. Can any of you deny this? If you ask your parents, your grandparents, your great grandparents, the original ancestors, and even God, who is the origin of the universe, they all will agree with this. This is a universal law. This truth will remain even after the universe continuously exists for billions of years. The natural conclusion is that when you stand before God, He will judge you as righteous or unrighteous according to this immutable law. Even the fall of Adam and Eve originated in a violation of this law. Adam and Eve both erred by thinking that sexual organ was their own possession. Think about it. Would God chase Adam and Eve away because they ate a literal fruit? God is not such a senseless being. God chased them out because they did not meet the most basic criteria by which the universe functions. Because of their mistake with the original point of love, they could not be acknowledged anywhere in the universe. In the mineral kingdom, plant kingdom, and animal kingdom, the positivity and negativity, that is, the sexual organ, is reserved for the sake of the complementary partner of love. Adam and Eve did not know this. Then why do the sexual organs exist? For love. Male and female exist in order to find love. What are characteristics of God? God is absolute, unique, eternal, and unchanging. Then who is the owner of love? The owner of love is not man or woman. The owner of love is God. Centering on love and through love, God and humankind become one. This is because both God and human beings absolutely need love. Then what kind of love does God need? God needs absolute love. What about you? It is the same for you and for me. Just as God needs absolute, unique, unchanging, and eternal love, we also need absolute, unique, unchanging, and eternal love. It seems that we all resemble God. God Himself has characteristics of masculinity and femininity, of positivity and negativity. Human beings who were created as a substantial object of God were created as man and woman. When man and woman marry, they become substantial plus and minus representing God. It is God's will that when we marry, we completely unite horizontally, centering on God's vertical love. The human body is horizontal, representing the earth. On the other hand, the conscience always loves the vertical and seeks a higher perspective. Thus, human beings irresistibly seek the point at which they become one with the vertical standard of God. That point must be the center, and man and woman must meet each other at that point. Thus, when every person who is born from that center grows up through experiencing the love of a child, the love among brothers and sisters, and conjugal love, the mature body represents the earth, and the mature mind centers on God. At this ultimate point, body and mind become one, vertically and horizontally, thus establishing a base for happiness. Only at that place will God, who is the absolute being, rejoice, centering on absolute love. In that place, husband and wife, who are love partners, also will rejoice. When the relationships of parent and child, husband and wife, and brother and sister, which represent respectively north and south, east and west, and front and back, unite perfectly, centering on that one point, an ideal global shape is created. Thus, in the East, there is a saying that parents and children form one body. Further, they see husband and wife and brother and sister forming one body. What is the basis for that traditional wisdom? It all is made possible when the three relationships form a sphere extending in all directions, centering on true love. Those relationships must form a sphere with one center. There should be only one center. Unification is possible because those relationships in reality have the same center. The relationship between God and human beings is a parent child relationship. Thus, God and man must become one, centering on true love. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, how lofty is human desire? Your mind wants to reach higher than God. No matter how lowly a person is, he or she can desire a world even greater than that of God's desire. As a beloved son or daughter of God, you should say to God, Father, please come. Won't He come? No matter how ugly a man's wife is, if he really loves her, he naturally will follow her when she calls. With unity centering on true love, the husband will respond to his wife's beckoning. The elder will follow the younger's call, and the younger will follow the elder's call. None of them will ever want to separate from the other. If God is alone, does he feel lonely or not? How can we know that he feels lonely? Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, do you have love? Do you have life? Do you have sperm and eggs? Do you have a conscience? You affirm all these things, but have you seen love? Have you seen life? Have you seen lineage? Have you seen the conscience? Have you ever touched these things? You know their existence, but you cannot touch or see them. You know them only through your mind's intuition. By the same token, even though you have not seen or touched God, you cannot say that He does not exist. What is more important, that which is visible or that which is invisible? I'm sure you realize that the invisible is more important than the visible. You can see and touch money, position, and honor, but you cannot see or touch love, life, lineage, and conscience. We all have them. So why can we not see them? It is because they are one with us. When mind and body maintain absolute balance, you do not feel them. Do you feel your eyes blinking? Try counting your blinks for 3 hours. Do you count the number of breaths you take every day? Touch the left side of your chest with your right hand. Do you feel something beating? You can feel the beating of your heart. How many times a day do you hear the sound of your heart beating? Through a stethoscope, your heartbeat sounds like the explosion of a bomb. But when we are busy, we go for weeks and months without feeling that. Think about it. We immediately feel a small fly sitting on our head, but we cannot feel our heart beating even when the sound of it is 100 times greater than the lightning of a fly. It is because we are one with our own body. You may think it is rude if I share this with you, but I would like to give you an example. You use the bathroom each morning. When you defecate, do you wear a gas mask? This is not a laughing matter, but a serious one. If you are near someone else defecating, you will quickly move a good distance away. But when you smell your own feces, you do not even notice it. This is because that fecal matter is one with your body. Therefore, you do not feel that it is dirty. When you were young, did you ever taste the dried mucus from your nose? Does it taste sweet or salty? It's salty, right? Since you can answer, you must have tasted it. Why did you not feel that it was dirty? It is because it was part of your body. Reverend Moon has figured out something that no one in the world knew. When you cough up phlegm, you sometimes swallow it, right? What about you who are here today? Have you ever had that experience? Be honest. Why do you not feel it is dirty? Because the phlegm was one with your body. We all eat 3 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you go about 12 inches down from your mouth, there is a fertilizer factory. By eating 3 meals a day, we are providing raw materials for fertilizer factories. After knowing that, can you still take food into your mouth with a fork and spoon? We know that there is a fertilizer factory in our stomach, but we live on without feeling its presence. Why do we not feel it? It is because we are one with it. In the same way, we have love, life, lineage, and conscience, but because they are one with us in balance, we do not feel them. Just like us, God has love, life, lineage, and conscience, but He cannot feel them by Himself. Because they are completely in balance, God cannot feel them. That is why God also needs an object partner. We understand the necessity of an object partner from this perspective. When one is alone, one cannot feel oneself. But when a man appears to a woman and a woman appears to a man, the stimulation of love and lineage will erupt like lightning and thunder. You must be fully awakened about this. We have lived without knowing this truth. Man has not understood that God absolutely needs his love partner. Then who is God's love partner? Is it a monkey? If human beings are resultant, can monkeys be the being that caused us? Can monkeys be our progenitors? Don't even talk such nonsense. In order for life to have begun from an amoeba and reach the human form, it must pass through the gates of love on thousands of levels. Does life progress automatically? Absolutely not. It's the same with all animals. The division of species is very strict. Nobody can trespass the separation of species. Immaterialists who believe that monkeys are our ancestors crossbreed a human being and a monkey. Do you think a new life form will emerge? It will fail no matter how many thousands of years they attempt it. Why will it not work? You must think about this. Then what would God need? What part of your body would God need most? Your eyes, hands, your five senses? Within him, God has both masculinity and femininity, but to exist as Father, his being is that of a male subject. With this in mind, would we say that God needs a love partner? Then who or what within his creation could be his love partner? Is it man by himself? Or can woman by herself become God's love partner? What kind of partner does God want? Does God need a partner with great wealth? Does he need a partner of knowledge or one of great authority? No, none of these things matter. God wants a love partner. That's centering on the place where husband and wife become one through the sexual organs. God wants to appear and meet us. Why is that the place where man and woman become one, centering on God? It is because love is absolute, and that place is where man and woman have the absolute desire to become one. Looking horizontally, man who is plus approaches that center, and woman who is minus also approaches that center. In God also, the masculine characteristic and the feminine characteristic become one as plus and minus. That union in God as a bigger plus becomes one with a bigger minus, namely the union of man and woman. The question turns to the conditions by which that union can come about. What is marriage? Why is marriage important? Marriage is important because it is a road to finding love. It is a road to creating life. It is a road where the life of a man and a woman unite into one. It is a place where a man's lineage combines with a woman's lineage. History emerges through marriage, and from marriage, nations appear, and an ideal world begins. Without marriage, there is no meaning to the existence of individuals, nations, and an ideal world. This is a formula. Man and woman must become absolutely one. Parents and children must become absolutely one with God, love God, and live and die with God. And when they die and go to the spirit world, that is a place called heaven. But there has been no individual, family, or nation which has fulfilled that ideal. The world and humankind have not established that ideal, and for that reason, the kingdom of heaven that God desires is empty. All people who died until now fell into hell. No one entered the kingdom of heaven. From this perspective, we can see that Jesus came as a savior of humankind, but could not enter the kingdom of heaven. He instead went to paradise. In order to enter the kingdom of heaven, Jesus would have had to form a family. That is why Jesus wants to come again. Jesus was to marry, form a family, serve and live with God in that family, and then enter the kingdom of heaven with that family. He could not enter the kingdom of heaven by himself alone. Thus it is said in the Bible, what is bound on earth is bound in heaven, and what is loose on earth is loose in heaven. We must solve the problems on earth. Since the disease was contracted on earth, it must be cured on earth. Humankind is descended from the fall. Therefore, we dwell in the realm of the fall and cannot enter the kingdom of heaven without making a foundation to rise above that realm. Man in the realm of the fall must destroy that realm, no matter how difficult it is. Thus Jesus said, whoever seeks his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. In order to traverse this road of death, we must penetrate it and rise above by risking our entire lives. Your families are in the realm of the fall. Your tribes and nations are the same. You must struggle and win. The fall occurred in Adam's family. Did Adam and Eve have children before or after they were chased out of the garden? They had children after they were chased out. They created their family without any relationship to God. How can you go to the kingdom of heaven without knowing this? It is not conceivable. You cannot achieve the perfect ideal through ignorance. This is my warning to you. Pray to find out whether Reverend Moon's words are true. No one knows how much hardship I endured in order to find this path. Even though I committed no crime, I suffered through 6 different prisons to find this path. Through this truth, I am able to straighten out and educate precious young people in the matter of an hour. Some people say that I am brainwashing youth, but in fact, I am enlightening them with logical truth. Atheists have been silenced since they failed to prove scientifically and logically that God does not exist. On the other side, Christians entrap us, crying heresy because our doctrines differ, and they try to destroy us. But in this case, this so called heretical cult is on the side of truth. Satan hates whatever is on God's side, and God hates whatever is on Satan's side. Has anyone in the world liked Reverend Moon? You came here only on the basis of learning what Reverend Moon is doing. You did not come without knowing that. Youth in the former Soviet Union, living in an ideological vacuum, are equipping themselves intellectually with a unification perspective through comprehensive ethics texts in middle schools, high schools, universities, and even in prisons. 3,600 schools in the former Soviet Union are using such texts. They believe that my teachings provide the only way to overcome the corrupting influence of the decadent Western culture of homosexuality and free sex. They are proclaiming we must surpass America, which opposes Reverend Moon. They want to move ahead of America in attending Reverend Moon. Ladies and gentlemen, do you like God? Would God enjoy watching Reverend Moon doing these works? Can the teaching of the Vatican harmonize with the teaching of Reverend Schuller, who also attended the inaugural convention of the Family Federation for World Peace? Their teachings are different. Then ask God whose teaching is true. What is the benefit of my telling you that your understanding of Jesus and Mother Mary is wrong? But you must understand one fact very clearly. Without being loose on earth, it will not be loose in heaven. Reverend Moon, who knew this at an early age, has devoted his life to walking this path. Should Jesus have married? Jesus should have married. Is Jesus a woman or a man? If there is a woman saint, would Jesus not desire to marry her? During the creation of Adam and Eve, God granted them their own sexual organs. Why would he have done that? Would God have married them when they reached maturity or not? The problem lies in their fall. Due to the fall, their blood lineage switched from God to Satan. Therefore, God chased them out of the Garden of Eden. Originally, Adam and Eve were to have become God's body in the position of God's bride. The fall, in a sense, introduced these into God's body and an ideal as Adam and Eve acted like God's enemies. Can you imagine how much God's heart suffered as he watched this taking place? It was an act of expropriation. It was the Sorry about that. Okay, back here. Sorry about the internet problem. Beyond that, they lose their parents and brothers and sisters. Therefore, they live as gypsies and wander around as hippies, having no place to go when it rains and snows. So they are driven to end their lives by suicide. That is a result of individualism. The original mind does not want to protect this extreme individualism and ridiculous exaltation of privacy. The original mind wants to live receiving love from the universe, the nation, our village, and our parents. But because people walk the opposite path, their consciences become dysfunctional and they feel a contradiction with their own original mind. Thus, more and more people would rather die than live and commit virtual suicide by taking drugs. We are witnessing the truth. You will reap what you have sown, being proven. What seed did Adam and Eve plant in the Garden of Eden? It was a seed of free sex. Can that be denied? There is a reason they covered their lower parts. Is it not true that even children know they must cover up, for example, after having eaten the cookies hidden by their parents? This is a function of human nature. If the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil were a literal fruit, then Adam and Eve should have covered their mouths or their hands. So why did they hide their lower parts? Reverend Moon is an intelligent man. I am not doing what I am doing because I am inferior to you. It cannot be denied that the fall was caused by fornication. To restore the fall of Adam and Eve, it is very logical to say that we must take a path 180 degrees different from that of the fall. We inherited a lineage on the path to hell due to the fall. That is why the Messiah must come. The Messiah comes as the owner who should form the family in the Garden of Eden as originally intended by God. We must understand this clearly. It must be logical. The Messiah first should create a family which serves God. Through this family, he should establish a nation. Therefore, the family is a key. Centering on the Messiah's family, there should be an engrafting process. The problem is, who can save me from this world of death? That is why the opposite path is taken. Look at the Old Testament era. The indemnification took place centering on the principle of an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. Look at Rebekah, the wife of Isaac. Isn't she the one who stole the blessing for Jacob by cheating her eldest son Esau and her own husband Isaac? Why would God love such a woman? How can we have faith in such a God? No one until now has answered these questions. Reverend Moon is the first person to provide the answers because Reverend Moon is the only one who knows all the secrets of God. Now let's discover the dividing line between heaven and hell. Is it up in the air? Where is it? It is your sexual organ. This is a serious matter. This has turned heaven and earth upside down. Who can deny this? This is explained in the chapter on the human fall and the divine principle, the teaching of Reverend Moon. If you doubt this, ask God. You cannot reject Reverend Moon's divine principle, which contains content beyond your wildest dreams, presented through logical explanations and a well ordered structure. If you wonder whether Ramun will go to heaven or hell, please die and go to the spirit world. There you will find out. If you feel upset by my talk tonight, you could go ahead and commit suicide and you will really find out. You have to realize that Reverend Moon overcame death hundreds of times in order to find this path. Reverend Moon is a person who brought God to tears hundreds of times. No one in history has loved God more than the Reverend Moon has. That is why even if the world tries to destroy me, the Reverend Moon will never perish. It is because God protects me. If you step into the realm of the truth Reverend Moon teaches, you will also gain God's protection. When a sexual organ is used in the same way a blind person wanders aimlessly without direction, it will undoubtedly lead you as its owner to hell. By the same token, one will be led high up into heaven when he or she uses a sexual organ according to the standard of God's absolute love. This is a clear conclusion. Today we face a serious use problem because in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve planted the seed of free sex in the shade through their fall during their use. In the last days, harvest time, there must be the worldwide phenomena of rampant free sex among the youth. Satan knew that the Lord of the Second Advent would come in the last days with a strategy to save humankind who are in the realm of the fall by lifting them up to the realm of absolute love centering on God's true love. Satan cannot find any other standard of love other than free sex, as the archangel introduced in the Garden of Eden. Therefore, we see that the entire world is stripped naked and being pushed in the direction of death by free sex. All humanity is being forced to walk this path in the last days as the archangel's descendants. Because today's humankind descended from Adam and Eve who fell under Satan's dominion in the Garden of Eden, Satan can boldly claim in the front of God that he has a right to do whatever he will with them, with all men and women in this world. God knows what Satan wants. Through free sex, Satan wants to stop every last person from returning to God. In other words, Satan wants to destroy all humanity and create hell on earth. Is not the world in which we live today hell on earth? Therefore, we will find a road to heaven by going 180 degrees opposite the direction of this hell on earth. When the Lord of Second Advent comes, He will show us the 180 degrees opposite path as a means to save the world and lead us to heaven. Then what is the road that is 180 degrees opposite the way of free sex? The path of free sex was laid because of the false parents. Therefore, true parents have to come to straighten the wrong path. God cannot intervene. No authority, nor any military, economic, or political powers can do it. It was caused by false parents. Therefore, it takes true parents to cut it open with a scalpel. True parents should operate with their scalpel. That is the only way humanity can be saved. The one who sinned has to indemnify the sin. It was in the family that a false marriage took place which corrupted the lineage 180 degrees. Therefore, true parents must come and bestow marriage that is in a direction 180 degrees opposite in order to open the path to heaven. Then what did God expect from Adam and Eve? God expected absolute sex from them. You all leaders gathered here tonight, please learn this truth and take it back to your countries. You start a campaign to secure absolute sex in your country, your families, and your nation will go straight to heaven. When there's absolute sex, an absolute couple will emerge automatically. Words such as free sex, homosexual, and lesbian will naturally disappear. Reverend Moon has lived an entire life overcoming a suffering past in order to initiate this kind of movement worldwide. Now the time has come for Reverend Moon to trumpet the fanfare of victory and move the entire world. Therefore, I am grateful to God. The family sets the cornerstone on the road to world peace. The family also can destroy that road. It was Adam's family in which the destruction of the foundation of human hope and happiness took place. Therefore, when we established the Family Federation for World Peace, the road going 180-degree opposite the direction of the satanic world will open. And for this, we cannot help but give thanks to God. Without following this road, there is no freedom, happiness, or ideal. I wish that you would center on the absolute sexual organ, unique sexual organ, unchanging sexual organ, and eternal sexual organ, and use this as your foundation to pursue God. You should realize that this foundation should become the foundation of love, life, lineage, and conscience. We also have to realize that the kingdom of God on earth and in heaven will begin on this foundation. If all men and women admit that their sexual organ belongs to their spouse, we all bow our heads and become humble when we receive our spouse's love. Love comes to you only from your partner. There is no love other than love for the sake of others. We must remember that we can find absolute love where we absolutely live for the sake of others. When you return home, you should expect to wage a war against the satanic wall. Wherever you may go, please try to spread Reverend Moon's message through television or other media. You will never perish. What force can turn around this world of hell? It is impossible to achieve this unless our sexual organ is used in accordance with an absolute, unique, unchanging, and eternal standard centering on God's true love, which is absolute, unique, unchanging, and eternal love. God is the original owner of the sexual organs. Let us go forward all together for this common cause. Let us become the vanguard which will carry out God's true love. This is the very mission of the Family Federation for World Peace. Now please go back to your homes and affirm with your spouses that your sexual organs are absolute, unique, unchanging, and eternal. Proclaim that yours is truly your spouse's, and what your spouse has protected so well until now is truly yours. And please pledge that you will live your life with gratitude and in eternal service to your spouse. In such families, God will dwell eternally, and centering upon them, the world level family will begin to multiply. I sincerely hope that each of you will participate in the next marriage blessing of 3,600,000 couples. By doing so, you will form a true family that can register in the kingdom of God on earth. Thank you very much. Amen. Okay, thank you very much. This is what True Father speech, what True Father gave speech 30 years ago, exactly 30 years ago in 1996. And this I chose this year because 30 years ago, 1996, my father was called as one of the missionaries and all the leaders around the world to Champion, where True Father said that they all go through a 40 days workshop. And at the end of the workshop, all of them had to choose, pick the lottery, a paper, and a piece of paper showed what country they will be assigned as national messiahs. So they had one from Korea, one from Japan, and one from Europe. So there were four national messiahs: Korea, Japan, United States, and one from Europe. So four national messiahs. And my father was a missionary to Africa, West Africa, Burkina Faso. And that was the end of 21 years in Africa. And then after 40 days workshop, and 7 days fasting and going up and down the mountain champion doing Cheongsang condition every morning through Father Dim Hundoke. And after the 40 days, they chose, and the country that my father chose was Marshall Islands. So this is exactly 30 years ago this year, 1996, and this year is 2026, just 30 years. So that's why I chose this speech. And the speech is very deep as well, explaining the meaning of absolute sex and the true mission of our Family Federation for World Peace is establish true families in our society as a building block for world peace. Yeah, thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Reverend Taki, for preparing your message. And yeah, thank you for sharing two father word from the 30 years ago to us, and as well as sharing about your father story with two father. It's really interesting to hear. Yes, and I would like to ask if anyone want to share their reflections or any thought from the message. Yeah,
I
yeah.
hello, yeah. I was at that speech in Washington. I took Susan Bastick. She's now a member of Parliament in New South Wales, I believe. At that time, she was head of the Catholic family party. It was I forget exactly the name, but yeah, we that was an incredible speech from Father. It was really like dynamite at that stage, but it was very hard for it's sort of like tough medicine, you know, and also it contained really, I think, a knowledge, more of a knowledge of the principle, which she really didn't have. Anyway, in the end, after listening to it for probably three-quarters of the speech, she walked out. She said, "Look, I've got to go upstairs." It was a bit late anyway, and it was a long trip across the ocean, so some jet lag. Anyway, incredible speech, and Father is really saying, what is required to restore this world, which is basically to clarify the fall and instigate purity, purity and fidelity within families. Anyway, thank you, Takaaki, once again, a terrific speech. I really appreciate hearing that today again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Reverend Stone, for sharing your reflections and yeah, your story. Yeah, now I think it's a time, so I would like to continue our okay. The next is our 7 minutes unison prayer. So yeah, let's just pray together. Thank you so much, everyone. That's the end of our 100K today. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Have a wonderful day and see you again tomorrow.
Nice to see you all. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
1 minute, 1 minute.
Yeah, yeah.